Hey there, let's talk paint, and specifically I'm talking about the way a substrate is prepared and how it's prepared properly. Now, I think where where I am from in my area, since this is rather rural, there are not perhaps as many master painters or painters who were trained properly and to use proper techniques and processes to actually paint. I think a lot of people also assume or think that they are, it's just paint. Oh, you just slap it on. And and there's a science to this. And so I'm here doing some restoration painting on these columns, and this has kind of been a multi-week project, kind of avoiding rain and dealing with bad weather. So, but today I got really lucky because a lot of the paint has just literally been coming off of the base of these columns, literally in sheets. But what it enabled me to do is essentially confirm what I already thought was the case. Now, in my mind, as I've been working on these columns, because the paint was in pretty bad condition, and they've been painted for about 10 years. But the problem is, obviously, the paint isn't sticking when it's not sticking, and there were a lot of bubbles and things like that over time with water, egress, and also with weather in a different area where some sides of the columns were getting direct sunlight, which also then caused some of that kind of bubbling and change to the actual surface of the coating. So let's talk about how you would properly prep these. And I'm showing you this. I did this because I'm spot treating some areas, because we're not stripping everything and starting over, because that's really impossible and would not be cost effective. But these should have been coated with a bonding primer to begin with. They should have also been sanded down. They're made from resin, so it's a plastic-like material. And as I'm touching this right now, it is super slick. What this feels like to me is the slickness of maybe a Tupperware container, something you would use in your kitchen. So thinking about that, and then the fact that these were brushed, more than likely, this is my guess, is that they did not use a bonding primer, because the bonding primer would have adhered a little bit better than what was done. Also, I have spot tested some of the bonding primer actually on this particular corner that I'm touching right now. And just after being on for about 40 minutes, I am not able to chip it off with a razor blade. So to me, that says that a bonding primer is going to work really great on this particular surface and wasn't used to begin with. My guess, because a lot of painters do this, it's cheap, it's fast, it's easy. These were probably just painted with flat white paint to begin with, because most people think or assume that flat white paint is the same as a primer. It isn't. It doesn't have the polymers in it and the bonding agents that a true bonding primer would have. So that being said, my guess, just because of the thickness of the millage of this paint, is that all of these columns were originally done with a coat of flat white paint, kind of, as my mom says, licking a promise. And the reason I can say that is because you'll notice I peeled the paint. You can see what the white is. The white is actually that flat white paint. And then you can see the color showing through, because they then top coated it with the actual color. I really think that this is kind of one of those one and done So they just did a white coat, see the white coat, and then they painted with the regular paint color. Because this is so incredibly thin, you can see how easy this was for me to peel off. So, and really seriously looking, you know, at all of this, I can see what their base coat looked like. So their base coat was really done kind of shoddily and just quick and dirty, right? Get it done, get it somewhat coated, and then coat it with a layer of paint. So just to say that I think sometimes, of course, I know with everyone cost is an issue. And I think that a lot of times when, as a homeowner, you get a really expensive quote from someone, you automatically think, oh, that's too high, they're charging too much, they're trying to rip me off. And then you get a low quote and you just assume, well, it's just paint, what's the big deal? Cheap painters do cheap work. And so now what I'm having to do is go back where somebody just, you know, used some flat white paint and then one coat of paint and went on with their day and charged a cheap price. And now I'm having to go back and repair all of this. So in the long run, it isn't cheaper. And if it had been done correctly to begin with, it probably would have lasted 15 to 20 years, to be honest. I mean, with the exception of some maybe small touch-ups or repairs. But typically, if you're using excellent and exceptional quality materials like Sherwin-Williams paint, Benjamin Moore paint, they have a price tag, but they have a price tag for a reason. So they are long-lasting, they are good quality, and that's what we use. I use Sherwin-Williams paint almost exclusively because I know it works and plays well with my decorative finishing. So I'm very familiar with their paint materials. Anyway, so I thought I would share this with you because, you know, in restoration work, we're a little bit a sleuth, you know, super sleuth, as well as being the artist or artisan who's coming back and doing these repairs. But there's a lot to be said for doing the job correctly to begin with, and then kind of what you're up against going forward. So just be thoughtful next time you hire a painter. Cheapest isn't always the best, and ask what their methods are. So if you're having painting done just out of curiosity, you know, compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. You know, if somebody's saying, oh, well, you know, we're going to strip it down and we're going to base coat it and then we're going to put 2 coats of paint and then we're going to seal it, that's more of the proper way of doing it. You know, if you're having something painted with these, because it's exterior, these should have been done properly with a proper primer, and then they should have been painted with 2 coats of an exterior paint, exterior quality paint, something even with a lot of those protective polymers in it that are for exteriors, that are long lasting. My recommendation, I use, excuse me, I use Duration a lot. I use a lot of Sherwin-Williams Duration exterior, and then their upper quality lines as well, like their Emerald or the higher end, because even though you're spending more for a gallon of paint, you're getting a better quality and something that's going to last and withstand the test of time. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.